As an extrovert, have you ever had a feeling that you talked to a colleague, tried to make a connection, but you only got back monosyllabic answers? Or, if you are more on the introverted side, does it happen to you that your colleague seems to be talking nonstop and you just wish they left you alone so you can focus on your work? Extroverts and introverts have very different needs in terms of communication. In this video, I would like to share some recommendations that will help you cooperate more smoothly with people who are on the other side of extroverted-introverted spectrum. I consider myself an extrovert. Regardless of my personality type, communication is one of my strengths. However, sometimes I find myself in awkward situations when I leave the conversation with bitter aftertaste. One day at my work, my computer broke down, so I immediately rushed into the IT specialist office, and even without knocking his door, I asked for help. He acknowledged my request and quietly started to work on the issue. Suddenly, I felt uncomfortable in the situation, so I tried to engage him into some small talk, started asking different questions, and finally even talked about the weather. I received none or very few answers from his side. In the end, my computer was restored, but our work-related relationship was damaged in some way. Why? Because I failed to respect my introvert colleagues' needs in the situation. So what kind of mistakes I made and what were my learning points back then? If you are curious to hear similar workplace stories and the practical points you can learn from, click the subscribe button so you can receive content like this every 2 weeks. Now, let's focus on the differences between extroverts and introverts. These terms were defined over 100 years ago by Carl Jung. The main difference between introverts and extroverts lies where they draw their energy from. Extroverts seek for external stimulation and look for social interaction for gaining energy. On the other hand, introverts find solitude energizing, while too many social interaction can drain them. Of course, it is a spectrum. Some of us might be very extroverted, or on the contrary, extremely introverted, while others are in the middle of the spectrum. If based on the current knowledge about yourself, would you say you are more on the introversion side or on the extroversion side? Either way, if you are aware of your own natural preference, and if you also learn to occasionally adapt your communication style to your colleagues' needs, it can make you a better team player and a better leader. Going back to my story, back then I acted completely instinctively and made many mistakes during our interaction with the IT specialist. First, I acted spontaneously before thinking over my options and considering my colleagues' needs. Second, my communication style was very loud, direct, theatrical, and didn't fit the atmosphere of his quiet office. Third, I was compelled to fill the silence by talking to him, so I interrupted him many times while he tried to find a solution to my problem. And what did he do? First, he immediately switched into problem-solving mode and didn't require any prior bonding with me. Second, he was very calm and silent most of the time, and deliberate when he said something. And third, he also kept physical distance and informed me in a very formal way that I can go back to my desk and he's going to write me when I can pick up the computer. As you can see, this situation was filled with frustration and dissatisfaction from both sides. But I have good news for you. While extroversion and introversion is a personality trait, a natural preference which hardly changes over time, communication is a skill that can be learned. So let me share some tips that can help you to avoid the most common pitfalls when communicating with people with different natural preferences to yours. My 4 key tips for introverts. First, set and communicate your boundaries. Let people know when you need space and what is your need in the current situation. In my story, my colleague should have said, "I need to focus on solving your issues. Could you please let me do it?" As an introvert, it is important to let people know that you work best when you have a quiet time by yourself. From a leadership perspective, it is crucial to be aware of your colleagues' needs and ways of working. Second, show your interest, even if you find it lame and a waste of time as a leader. It helps to engage in small talks. It makes extroverts feel that you really care about them as a person. So don't forget to ask your team members, how are you? How was your weekend? What have you been up to? Third, shorten your written communication. Avoid sending extroverts long emails. They often prefer to discuss issues or ideas in person, so they might only skim through the first paragraph of your messages. Fourth, prepare in advance. Preparation for meeting is key in order to feel more confident speaking up in front of a bigger audience, and try to jump in during the first 10 minutes. Also make sure that you can recharge your batteries after many interactions. My 4 key tips for extroverts. Listen more. Don't rush to fill in pauses. Let introverts finish speaking before you jump in. Even if it's extremely difficult to hold yourself back, learn to respect other people's rhythm. Second, give time and space. Give time for introverts to feel comfortable in the situation. Respect their physical boundaries and their needs in social interaction. But continue inviting them for informal gatherings and brainstorming sessions. They might surprise you and show up from time to time. Third, send out pre-reads. Sending out information, agenda, or documents could provide introverts and extroverts a chance to prepare their thoughts in advance, so they can make real contribution on the spot. Additionally, introverts might feel more confident to speak up when they have the opportunity. 4. Hear all voices. As a leader, it is your duty to make sure that everyone has a chance to share their opinion. Extroverts have a tendency to dominate the conversation, so pay attention to involve your introverted colleagues as well. As a summary, here are my 4 tips for introverts. Set and communicate your boundaries. Show your interest. Shorten your written communication and prepare in advance. And my 4 tips for extroverts are: listen more, give time and space, send out pre-read, and hear all voices. I have learned my lessons by reflecting on my mistakes in the past years. Now it's your turn. Think of a recent situation where you collaborated with a colleague on the other side of the extroversion and introversion spectrum. What went well? Where could you improve? Which one of these tips could you focus on from tomorrow? If you like this video, give us a thumbs up and let us know in the comment section what are your communication tips and experiences when collaborating with introverts and extroverts. See you in 2 weeks.